There was a very interesting article that came out of Newsweek. And this particular article is based off of a study. Now, this study has started looking at the rising death rates among white Americans. And it was speaking about how it's linked to their threat of losing their dominant social status in America. So this was released by the University of Toronto, and the researchers, they found that rising mortality in white Americans is partly due to perceptions they are losing their social status in the past 2 decades. So they say mortality rates seldom rise unless a society is subjected to something disastrous like a major economic crisis, infectious disease, epidemic of war, but there has been an increase in working age mortality rates for just one group in the United States since 1999 at the turn of the century. Okay, and it's non-Hispanic whites. So the associate professor who was conducting this study stated that he went on to say that it could be the first time that a widespread population health phenomenon cannot be explained by social or economic status disadvantage. Okay, and instead driven by a perceived threat of status. Now, they said the anxiety, according to this research, of whites is coming from a misperception that their dominant status in society is being threatened, which is manifesting in multiple forms of psychological and physiological stress. So this kind of stress they're talking about is leading to what they say deaths of despair. They say while mortality rates trend higher for whites, the increased causes of deaths have been due to alcohol consumption, opioid use, opioid overdose, and suicides. As according to the study, rising chronic illnesses, which includes hypertension and obesity, also contributed to this trend. As a status is a major predictor of health, so our team hypothesized that it was a perception among whites that blacks are economically catching up to them, when in fact income inequality and other socioeconomic factors continue to affect black Americans more unfavorably. Now listen to this. Let me repeat this one more time. The fear is that black people are catching up economically, and that is the problem. Let me tell you something. Let's just talk history here. Everything that's been built in this country came off of the backs of African slaves. Everyone know it. Now, some people don't want to admit it, but it is true. Slavery built America. Slavery built Europe. That's why they have so much wealth above other people, because they had the free labor of African slaves. Everything is attached to slavery. Everything. And they're not caring about Asians getting higher than them. They're not caring if Arabs. They're not caring if Hispanics, Native Americans. They don't care about that. Only black people. Do you know why? I've been told this actually by a lot of white people. They've told me many times the greatest fear for black people to be equal to white people is this: if they not only become equal, but actually get more in number, more in social status, more economically, the greatest fear is what we did to black people, they're going to turn around and do that to us. That is the fear. And this has come from white people to me more than once. Well, the thing is this: black people don't really have that kind of heart. That's not them. I mean, you look at what black folks are doing. They go hug you when you kill black folks. They'd never hug a black person like that. So in my opinion, I think you're good on that. But still, the guilt, the shame, and you never made recompense of anything at all. It is a weight on the shoulders. So they feel that in order for us to keep this privilege, we have to have this social status. But see, some of you, and I'm going to tell you this, you kind of say a whole lot of things that even other white people could not even agree with you on. Yes, there is a $18 to $19 racial wealth gap. For every one black person's dollar, they have about 18, 19, but that is just an average amount of money, okay? What all white people benefit from is white privilege. Not all of them are rich, but they have white privilege. White privilege allows you to basically get away with a whole lot of things that black people can't get away with. You know that. I mean, white people really is the only people in America that you could say is free. Black people aren't free in America. And what I determine is free, you can walk down the street and no one calls 911 on you because you just look suspicious. You can walk in the store, no one follows you. No police just harass you just because of your color of your skin. No one discriminates against you with housing. No one discriminates against you with education. You don't deal with any of the issues that black people have. So you're the only ones that can actually say you're free in America. You don't have those issues and problems. But everything doesn't attach themselves to that. Because with that, in the past, you got access to a lot of economics. The changes have came rapidly in the past, almost about 20 years now, going into this new century. With the creation of the internet, removed a lot of those gatekeepers they used to have certain control. Now you look at black people today, black people are doing a lot more than what they used to do because they don't have the gatekeepers anymore controlling black folks. You look at our show. The gatekeepers wouldn't let us have a show. The gatekeepers have never reached out to us, not one time, to even come on to even be a guest contributor, even though our platform is where it's at. So it let you know what they think about us here. So without the creation of the internet, more and more black people are making money. More and more black people are making 6-figure salaries, 7-figure salaries. Remember, the despair and what they worried about is black people making more money and black people rising up in status. That's what is causing the fear and depression, etc. And then automation, they keep telling you automation is coming. White privilege won't fix automation. And let me tell you something, it'll be their own people that's going to cause automation, not black people. The first and foremost, in the 70s, they sent all the jobs to China, got China out of third world status into first world status because of the greed in their own community. Because black people don't control the businesses in this country. Black people don't own the corporations. That's white Americans that own that. So they shipped all their jobs to China and left them just with scrap jobs. Okay. Then in their communities, they suffering too. They suffering in their communities. See, some black folks don't really know that. These rural communities are living poverty. They don't have anything. They don't have jobs. They don't have access to certain things. They may have white privilege, but what good is that if you don't have no money? Now, they have some white folks that's the 1%. They got money all day long. But them, no. Now, comes up to the 2016 election with Donald Trump. The main reason that Donald Trump got elected was because it's attached to this. Because Trump say, I'm going to deport these people. I'm going to get them out of here. And yeah, like, yeah, you're going to protect our status. And he told him he's going to bring us some jobs. Donald Trump can't reverse what's happening in this country no matter what he tries to do. He can deport everybody he wanted to deport. It's still not going to stop automation. Automation is coming. When you have companies like Amazon open up a grocery store and don't even have a cashier. How many of you went to the different stores like Walmart, Target, etc., and they have self-checkout? That's phasing out jobs. Fast food with kiosk is phasing out jobs, all due to automation. So it's coming. Now continuing, even though automation is coming, black folks will be okay. We always know how to make it. We always know how to make $1 out of 15 cents because that's been our position here in America. While others have enjoyed privilege, while others have benefited off of our backs, And even still to this day, you're benefiting off of slave labor in prisons. The day is coming where all that has to end. And either you're going to be like what the Bible teach, you work or you don't eat. That's really where it's going to be at. They always try to demonize black people on social programs, but understand something. In these rural areas, they more on social programs than black folks could have ever been on. If you actually start doing the research. See, they don't like to talk about these rural areas in Mississippi and Alabama and all these Kentucky and all these places like that. That's on food stamps and welfare. They don't like to see black people, with the racists, they don't like seeing black people at all living good. Y'all going to Africa now and y'all doing videos in China and Japan and y'all making videos in South America. They know it costs money to travel like that. In their mind, they know it, even though you could have got a deal out this world. You could have been on Skyscanner or all the different apps out there to save, money. But to them, that's a big thing for you to be traveling like that. And all you black people are doing more things now. Black people opening companies. Black people are doing a lot. And while black people are doing that, it's being watched. Say, wait a minute, I'm losing my place in society. The statement is, how is it the group of people that we have always mistreated ever since we have brought them here and those that were already here that we rounded up as slaves, how did we sit here and get to this point where they are starting to rise now? And ever since the turn of the 21st century, we're noticing our decline. So much so that we are taking our own lives through suicide, opioids, alcohol consumption. Donald Trump, like as I said before, he will not save them. Now, Donald Trump, he rode on those fears. That's how he became elected. Now, the researcher came back and said that they would expect mortality rates to rise with the most socioeconomic disadvantaged groups of all races, which is black people. They would expect that. But it said, but this is not the case. Even though black people are treated the worst in this nation, even though our history has been the worst in this nation, we are the only group of people in this nation to say we were enslaved with free labor. We came over here not by choice. Everyone else came over here by choice. Every last one of them. And they all can go back to their countries if they chose to. We don't know what African nation we come from. We're connecting, but we're connecting on just, hey, we're connecting with the land, but we don't have no geographic location where the most of us have come from. No matter if we were landed in the Caribbean, we landed here, Brazil, Colombia, anywhere else that the slaves dropped off to. Now they said that, listen to this, instead we're seeing a striking reversal among working age whites, which seems to be driven principally by anxiety among whites about losing social status to blacks, even in the absence of evidence, which is newly identified population health phenomenon that requires further research. They say while the most negative outcomes in this paper were concentrated in white Americans with high school degrees or less, as a signs of stress and elevated anxiety leading to rise in mortality was reported through every level of education. So yes, it affects those with high school and less, but it also affects those outside of that, even those with more education. So this is the thing. Black people have not been in control at all in America. Black people have not had any kind of social status. So you mean to tell me just the mere thought of black people getting out of their condition and rising up in social status, that causes all of this? Let me tell you something. I'm talking to black people here. Think about that for a minute. Do we really care about someone's social status so much so that it bothers us? That we're abusing drugs, that we're harming ourselves? Do we think about that? We not even in a position to think about no one else coming into the country at all. We see things. Yes, we see other groups coming in here disrespecting us. Yes, we see that. We definitely see that. But we're not harming ourselves or so worried about it as affecting us to that level. Everything in this country is tied to us. I've told you before, white supremacy and black excellence can never thrive together. It cannot. Either black excellence is going to be on top or white supremacy is going to be on top. They can't coexist. In order for white supremacy to work, we must be at the bottom. We must be oppressed. We must. That's the way the system was built, off the oppression of the black man and woman of America. That's how it was built. This is why they don't have issue with even other brothers and sisters that's coming in from different nations. That the nation wasn't built off of their oppression that's coming in. It was built off of black American oppression. You understand? See, they didn't say that they worried about the Hispanics rising. They didn't say that. They said us. Well, this is the thing. The 400 years is up. It's the inevitable got to happen. We have suffered long enough. We have. And it's our time to be back in the status that we were meant to be. You ever heard that statement, history repeats itself? If you look at the history of the whole earth and the status of the black man and black woman, it was not a bad status. So we're going to have to come up out of this worldwide, not just here. Now you're talking about reparations. You have the prime minister of Antigua is calling out for reparations to Harvard. Reparations is going to be a global movement. It's not just going to be an American talking point or American movement. It's going to be global. The global black family is going to start calling for reparations from every nation that benefited off of the backs of African slavery. It is time for us to get up out of the dirt and the mud. It's time for us to stop being the stepping stool for everybody, because everybody steps on our backs in this country. Everybody do, to get to where they need to be. No, the time is coming and has come where the black man and woman is going to say, you know what, no more. I'm not going to be a stepping stool. I'm not going to be the people that help you get to where you at. And then when we need help, you don't want to help us. No, black folks are becoming extremely quid pro quo. In other words, if I do something for you, you're going to do something for me. And if that's not going to happen, we're not doing nothing for you. Look at how black folks are acting with the election. See, no more of this, you just vote because you're supposed to, or vote because this person died, or vote because this person's racist. No, you're going to give me something, and then you'll get my vote. Well, Donald Trump is this. I get it, and I love to help you. I really would. I can't even agree with you about things you're saying about Donald Trump. But in order for me to help you, you help me. Where's my black agenda? What you gonna do for black Americans? That's all I need to hear. Well, write down what you're gonna do for black Americans, and then I'm gonna help you what you need. I can't wait to go help you, but you gotta help me first. You understand? They're not liking that, because black people now is not running out to be marching no more and saying, oh, we gonna overcome and please give us something. No, we ain't for that begging no more. Forget that begging. It's just simple. Give us something, we'll work with you. That goes for anybody. See, that position in itself shows a rise. Maybe your money haven't risen, but your consciousness is rising. And as your consciousness rise and as your countenance rise, everything else will follow behind it. The writing's on the wall with that. They see that. That's why it's becoming bothersome. The money eventually come. That'll come. But the thing you got to do first, how you think about yourself, so is who you're going to be. It'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's time for us to rise about the mud and the dirt and being a stepping stool. It's time for us to stand up on our own 2 feet, square our shoulders back, and be the people that we are called to be. As I stated, they see it. They see it. We're not saying that we want to do anything bad to anybody. We just want to be treated like human beings with dignity and respect. We want our communities to be straight. We want to be left alone like everybody else. That's it. Just left alone to do what we need to do, to live our lives as human beings. But this country wasn't built off of us living our lives like human beings and having thriving community. It was built off of us being people's footstool. Well, the day of the footstool is over. And in this study, they know it. But leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this particular story. coming out of Newsweek is very interesting. I will say that it's definitely very interesting. And if you have not checked out the pinned comment for the South Africa trip coming up September 1 through 10, make sure you go to that pinned comment. The deposit is $500. You can get more information by clicking that link that's in the pinned comment. It's the first one you'll see. You fill that out, put your name, your email, and send a message. Say, I come from African Diaspora News Channel. I'd like to talk to you about the South Africa trip, and they'll work with you by paying deposits and even giving you the itinerary themselves. Any questions you had, you can ask Mark at the Real South Africa about that. So I love to see you guys there September 1 through 10. You really would enjoy yourself. But let me know what you think, guys, about this particular story, because it's very interesting, but it's our time now. The 400 years is up. It's our time, and everybody else is going to have to deal with that.